More profoundly, Chen Yuan changed the title of the book from Hanization to Sinicization, accurately grasping the essence of integration in the Yuan dynasty. The Han people in the Yuan dynasty did not merely refer to the Han ethnicity, but also included the Khitan, Jurchen, Goryeo, and other ethnic groups. Sinicization was a cultural identity based on what is unique to the Chinese people, rather than racial assimilation by blood. This two-way cultural identity made Central Plains culture break out of its closed circle and integrate foreign cultures into Chinese civilization, completely breaking the cultural seclusion of Confucianism as the sole orthodoxy. The Semu people were not merely passive recipients of culture, but the core carriers of the westward spread of Chinese technology and culture. The Mongol Jamshi courier system allowed them to spread movable type printing, gunpowder technology, silk and porcelain craftsmanship to the Eurasian continent, while introducing Western regions astronomy, navigation and commercial thinking to the Central Plains. Liu Jiang commented, "The Semu people were a two-way link, not one-way cultural disseminators. They realized the true mutual exchange of goods and ideas between Eurasian civilizations." 4. Our Sino-Arab scientific fusion, Semu craftsmen and Guo Shoujing, from the Wanian calendar to the Shoshi calendar 2. 科技合璧，色木匠师与郭守敬，从万年历到授时历。The core feature of science and technology in the Yuan dynasty was Sino-Arab integration. The systematic input of Semu scholars and craftsmen, combined with the practical innovation of Central Plains artisans, created a golden age of scientific development. Guo Shoujing and his Shoshi calendar were the pinnacle of Sino-Arab mathematical fusion. The Wanian calendar he compiled was the first officially promulgated Islamic calendar in China, which was used in parallel with Guo Shoujing's Shoshi calendar, forming a pattern of parallel Han and Muslim calendars. In compiling the Shoshi calendar, Guo Shoujing drew deeply on Arab trigonometric formulas. Biographies of astronomers and mathematicians records Guo Shoujing's circular segment theorem was actually based on Muslim mathematics with slight modifications. This calendar set the length of a year at 365.2425 days, exactly the same as the current Gregorian calendar, 300 years earlier than the West. A crystallization of Sino-Arab scientific and technological fusion. Urban engineering. The Arab architect Ishaq al-Din led the imperial workshop of various artisans and was in charge of the construction of Kumbalik. The history of the Yuan dynasty biography of technical experts records that he integrated Arab mathematical planning, arch technology and brickstone structure into the construction of Kumbalik, combining with Liu Bingzhong's ritual planning of the Han style, creating this Sino-Western integrated imperial capital. Persian architectural traces can be seen in the vault of the imperial palace and the water diversion technology. 3. Maritime sailing technology. The introduction of Arab lateen sail technology completely transformed the navigation capacity of Central Plains sea ships. Before the Yuan dynasty, Central Plains sea ships mostly used square sails, which were difficult to maneuver against the wind, while lateen sails could turn with the wind and rudder, adapting to the complex wind directions of ocean navigation. Yuan sea ships combined square sails on the main mast, with lateen sails on the auxiliary masts, forming a Sino-Western integrated sail rig. Records of foreign lands and their peoples records that the Semu sea ships in Quanzhou had sails like butterfly wings, capable of sailing with and against the wind. This technology laid the core foundation for the subsequent ocean voyages of Zheng, his treasure fleet, and became the technical support for maritime thinking in the Yuan dynasty. 4. Handicraft innovation. The Persian sugar refiner Asan introduced white sugar boiling technology. Essentials. OF agriculture and sericulture records that he could boil rock sugar, whose color and taste were superior to those produced in the Jiangnan region. UPGRADING, the traditional malt sugar production technology of the Central Plains, to a qualitative level. Western region's textile craftsmen set up the Sadarachi Production Bureau in Kumbalik, integrating Persian gold weaving technology with Central Plains silk weaving craftsmanship, creating the imperial Nasi brocade of the Yuan dynasty, a symbol of the handicraft industry in the Yuan dynasty. 4. The secularization of elite culture. Kublai Khan and Xu Heng, the popularization of Neo-Confucianism and the loosening of Confucianism as the sole orthodoxy 三精英文化的世俗化，忽必烈与许衡，理学的下沉与独尊儒术的松动。The evolution of elite culture in the Yuan dynasty was not extinction, but a secularization from the sophisticated circle of scholar officials to the people. The philosophical dialogue between Kublai Khan and Xu Heng became a symbol of this turning point and further confirmed the complete loosening of the traditional Confucianism as the sole orthodoxy. Xu Heng was the master of Neo-Confucianism in the Yuan dynasty, summoned by Kublai Khan as the imperial tutor, ordered to teach the crown prince and to participate in the discussions of the secretariat. The history of the Yuan dynasty biography of Xu Heng records that he taught Neo-Confucianism to Kublai Khan for several years, yet Kublai Khan once said frankly, "You have taught me Neo-Confucianism for several years, but I still cannot understand it. Yet when I hear Buddhist teachings, I understand them at once." This dialogue reflected the cognitive gap of the Mongol ruling class towards sophisticated elite culture, and more importantly, announced that Confucian Neo-Confucianism could no longer become the sole cultural core of the Yuan dynasty. Neo-Confucianism was a sophisticated philosophy of agricultural civilization, carrying out speculation around principle, vital energy, mind and nature, which required long-term book learning and systematic classical accumulation, contrary to the production and lifestyle of Mongol nomadism and inconsistent with the diverse and inclusive cultural pattern of the Yuan dynasty. To adapt to the cultural needs of Yuan society, Xu Heng and his disciples simplified the core of Neo-Confucianism into straightforward ethical norms such as loyalty, filial piety, integrity and righteousness, integrating them into Yuan operas, story scripts and folktales, turning Neo-Confucianism from the learning of emperors into the morality of the people. At the same time, diverse cultures such as Buddhism, Taoism and Islam developed freely, forming a cultural pattern of 100 flowers blooming, completely breaking the millennium-old tradition of Confucianism as the sole orthodoxy in the Central Plains dynasties. Zhang Feng commented in A Study of Social Classes in the Yuan dynasty, "The secularization of elite culture and the diversification of the cultural pattern in the Yuan dynasty were not only the expansion of cultural communication to the grassroots, but also a crucial step for Chinese culture to move from seclusion to openness." 4.4 Breaking the shackles of emphasizing agriculture and suppressing commerce. The injection of commercial and maritime thinking. 4. 重农抑商的突破，商业思维与海洋思维的注入。Combined with the Arab commercial genes inherited by the Semu people, the Mongol Empire's characteristics of emphasizing practicality and trade completely broke the millennium-old economic shackles of emphasizing agriculture and suppressing commerce in the Central Plains. The history of the Yuan dynasty economic records. The Yuan dynasty's taxation was originally lenient and simple, and special preferential treatment was given to the profits of merchants. The Yuan dynasty set up maritime trade bureaus and the Imperial Treasury Bureau, managed by the Semu people in charge of national trade, and formulated loose maritime trade laws, stipulating that foreign trade with all vassal states shall follow their own customs and no harsh interference shall be allowed. Arab caravanserai systems, cross-regional settlement methods and maritime trade concepts were fully introduced to the Central Plains, injecting brand new commercial and maritime thinking into Chinese civilization.